Coming up, we're going to talk about some EDC gear and hiking kind of blended together. I'm a pretty big EDC guy. I like a nice, minimalist wallet. I like a nice EDC watch, a nice blade. We're going to take a look at the Garmin Fenix 6, the Casio Pro Trek, as well as my Apple Watch in regards to hiking. Let's start off with the Apple Watch, a very, very popular watch right now coming in. This is the specifically the Apple 6, so I think it's the newest one, and it's retailing for somewhere around $400 depending on where you get it. You can get it in a couple of different colors, and of course there's all kinds of different bands you can add to it, third party as well as Apple Watches, so you can customize it and get it just how you'd like it. Some people dive really in depth into the functions and features of the Apple Watch. So much so that, I can't keep track of it all. The Apple Watch is just loaded with features and functions that, most people will probably never dive into in depth. You're just going to kind of use the features and functions that one, you know about, and two, that you have a purpose for on a daily basis. A lot of people love Apple Watch's workout functions, and they have some great workout functions. Overall, the Apple Watch, in my opinion, is the best bang for the buck. However, don't turn the video off if you're an Apple hater, because I have some other things that you're going to be interested in later. But I mean, as far as what you're getting for your money, the power, the potential of what you're getting for your money, I don't think anyone can beat the Apple Watch. As far as I know, but definitely not of these three watches. I think you definitely get your money's worth when it comes to the Apple Watch at $400. It's a miniature computer that's water resistant, unless you're, doing some deep scuba diving, which I do scuba diving. I would never wear my normal watches scuba diving. I have a, watch just for scuba diving that does your calculations and things. But the Apple Watch is water resistant, just like most other watches are nowadays. Number one, it definitely leads at recording workouts and different kinds of workouts and the heart rate, and it seamlessly records it all onto your phone, and that makes it really nice. The Garmin Fenix 6 does also record workout information, and when it's paired with your iPhone, it will record that information into your iPhone, and so therefore your health app is updated. But nothing is, that's what Apple does. They build seamless technology, and the watch is very seamless with the phone or iPad or whatever devices you have. The next category the Apple Watch is going to win in is the display. It has, the best display, relatively speaking, because we're going to be comparing like an analog style watch to the Apple Watch, and it's really not a fair comparison. In my experience, very few smartwatches out there have a display like Apple's. However, it comes at a cost with battery life. Battery life is the worst, and the Apple Watch gets the worst of these three watches when it comes to battery life. Battery life, even with the newest model at the 6, 24 hours, maybe, I guess it's more like 36 hours or so is about as much as you can expect to get out of the Apple Watch, unless you're really very, very conscious about power saving. Depending on which band you have, the Apple Watch is going to be a very comfortable watch to wear. When it comes to hiking, the Apple Watch gives you very good readings. Now, if you're not going to be in cell service, and most hiking is sketchy cell service, if any at all, you need to use a GPS program like AllTrails to record your information. The Apple Watch gives you very accurate information when it comes to altitude if you're using the right programs, which is kind of one of the cool things when it comes to hiking. Is if you don't like the app that you're using that's helping you with that data, you can just get a new app. You can't do that with the other watches. All in all, the Apple Watch is a great watch. However, it has some style problems in my opinion. It's an Apple Watch, There's absolutely no uniqueness with an Apple Watch. Nice looking watch. When they first came out, they were really cool, but then everyone bought one. I like to find those unique pieces when it comes to EDC, but function here is what we're talking about when it comes to hiking. So all in all, the Apple Watch does well, but the fact that the battery life sucks compared to the other watches usually means the Apple Watch is getting left at home. The other worst part about the Apple Watch when it compares against these other watches, as well as a lot of other watches, is the durability. They've become a lot better since the first generation, but they scratch easily. You can shatter the face, which I've done, and they don't have that durability. They're not in my opinion, made for a whole lot of outdoor adventure because they're going to get damaged. Even with the protective screen film you can put on there that peels up after like 3 days, the durability's just not there. I think one of the cool things that the Apple Watch has is the find your cell phone function. So you can go right on your Apple Watch and quickly tap the button to make your cell phone ping. That's really cool. However, it's not the only watch that'll do that. So now let's talk about the Garmin Fenix 6. I really love the way this watch looks, the way it fits on my arm. It's so comfortable with the silicone band, and it's bigger. It's got a bigger face. It's not just bigger, it's durable. It's, fairly scratch resistant. I've had this watch in some sketchy places, climbing some rocks and doing all kinds of things, and it's almost spotless. We're gonna go ahead and throw a negative out right away though. That funky charging connection. It's got a USB cord that has this funky charging connection that is just stupid. Why? If you're, why don't you just make it a regular USB mini, USB-C? This is stupid. It's really stupid. I'm sure there's some technical reason why they have to do it, but it's 2020, 2021. We can do better than that, Garmin. And that's probably my biggest knock at the Garmin 6 is it's Garmin. Garmin invented GPS and associated technologies. A lot of you probably don't remember, but we used to ride around in our cars with little Garmin screens that would tell us where we're going. It was the original maps, the original smart map that you could have in your car that gave you directions and told you to turn right here, turn left there. It revolutionized the world. But somewhere around 2008, Garmin stopped upping their technology. And the watches, it's come a long way, but from some of their earlier models, and is probably close to as good as it gets when it comes to Garmin. But it's very, just like a lot of their stuff right now. I have a emergency GPS tracker that I use, and when you're using the maps on it, it just feels like the technology is like 15, 20 years old. It's not up to date, and that kind of sucks. Because I like this watch. It has the worst display of these three watches because that's as bright as it gets. And, I don't want to say it's hard to see, but when I'm looking at my watch, I want it to pop. I don't want to have to squint at it. This was the first watch that I used coming off of an Apple Watch when it comes to hiking and exploring the outdoors. I pretty much had my Apple Watch for, ever since I started. And then I tried the Garmin watch to try to see if there was a more hiker-friendly watch. And I also wanted a bigger watch. I like it when it takes up some space on my wrist. Now, what I'll say is the Garmin watch has a great battery. It comes in second when it comes to battery or power life. You can set it up so it's just barely drawing any power. It can run you a month or more. The way that I have it set up, it'll go anywhere from 3 to say 5 or 6 days without charging it. Water resistant, just like most watches nowadays. You can record workouts. What I'm going to say is that it's definitely not as user-friendly as the Apple Watch. It takes a little bit of figuring out, some time, and the data is not as good. But again, it does push that data into your iPhone or whatever phone you have, and hopefully we'll load it into your health apps so that you can kind of track your progress. One of the things I was excited about was the altimeter. But what you don't realize a lot of times until you jump in is it's based on air pressure. So it's going to vary depending on the air pressure. And what I've found is that it can be anywhere from 100 feet off to 450 feet or so off, which, if you live in Colorado or somewhere where the elevation changes a lot, it might not be as big a deal. But if you live in Delaware, and it tells you you're 250 feet under sea level, that kind of sucks. So I like the way that the iPhone pulls the information from an app, and that way it's usually a little more accurate. The altimeter on the Garmin Fenix 6, I don't think it's doing anything wrong. I just think it's that technology. It varies, and that's just the way that it works, and you need to be conscious and aware of that. It has excellent style, excellent durability. It does pair with your phone. But the locating, you can do the locate the iPhone. I'm not sure about the other phones. It's meh compared to the Apple Watch, which is perfect at it. The Garmin Fenix 6 comes in anywhere from $700 to $750 US. And you can probably find a little better deal on it now that it's getting a little bit older. But a lot of watches, they actually hold value, if not go up in value. And that is what brings me to the Casio Pro Trek, my newest edition watch, my newest EDC edition overall. And this is the Pro Trek PRG 600YB, comes in green and blue. And I like this watch. I really like this watch. $350 US. It's solar powered. So we eliminate the charger altogether, from being by a window, walking around outside, and it charges off, very low amounts of light. And I think that's awesome. But it's analog style watch. It's got the hands, but it also has we're going to call it a smartwatch area. It's more of an advanced analog / smartwatch. It does do a lot of functions, but the functions are more, like the alarm on old school 80s and 90s watches. It's just an advanced version of that. But great watch, very reliable, very stylish. I think it's the best looking watch of the three. Has a digital compass, which you go into and use the functions, and then it uses the hands to align you. It has a built-in altimeter, barometer, temperature sensor, and they all are fairly easy to get to after you've used it a little bit. It has timer, alarm, and it has an absolutely stupid manual. I mean, you can barely read this stuff, and I've had surgery on my eyes. There's so many functions you can do with it. You got to have a manual like that. You can use the altimeter and the compass to record data and therefore track your hikes. I'm going to say probably the hardest learning curve is getting it to do the recording of data and then recalling the data. After you get it set up and after you get used to it, it displays the date right on the face and the time. And to be honest, those are the main things that you're looking for with a watch. What it doesn't have that I wish it did was a heart rate monitor and a step counter. If it had those, I would wear this watch a lot. I mean, this would be my everyday watch, and I probably wouldn't change out of it too much depending on what I was doing, where I was going, what I was wearing. I just like the feel of this watch. I wish it had those features. It wouldn't be hard for them to add those features. You just put a little sensor on there and, change up maybe a little bit to do with the digital area there, make it a little more modern so that you can do it a little easier. What I will say is water resistant, just like the others. It has the crown, and when you kind of pull the crown out and you unscrew it and then pull it out, and that's how you can get in and change the functions. What you have to remember though is you got to screw the crown back in to make it water resistant. It's got 5 buttons, one on each corner and then one underneath for your light. Leaving the Apple ecosystem can be scary at times when some of you probably don't leave it at all. And I stay pretty true to Apple because the ecosystem is so tight, but the watch is where I kind of strayed. And I'm happy I did because I like the look of a traditional Casio EDC. It's more manly, As far as hiking goes, when you're in the woods, you're going to have your phone on you anyway. And if the watch is depending on the apps on the phone, you can just use the apps on your phone. Just, that way you don't have to worry about charging this thing. And you're already going to charge your phone anyway. You're going to draw a little more power. So you got to make sure you have a little more battery to charge your phone. But, my opinion is for hiking, if it's more than a day hike, get rid of the Apple Watch and go to a watch that specializes more in hiking, like the Garmin or the Casio. The Garmin, way overpriced. Way, way overpriced. And Garmin does this. A lot of their products are overpriced. It's the worst value. It's the worst display, which means it's hard to see in the woods. My everyday carry is my Casio. That's what's on my wrist most days right now. I'm going back and forth a little bit with the Garmin. I, to be honest with you, haven't really wore the Apple Watch much at all. I just like these traditional watches, these traditional styles a little better, a lot better. It's just a more masculine watch in my opinion, you know? It just looks better. Outdoor adventures, and when I say hiking, you know, day hikes, I think you can go back and forth between all three of them. I'd just be careful if your hikes include any kind of climbing or anything where the Apple Watch can get broken, scratched or whatever. The Garmin, if you're on a one night, you know, trip or a 2-night trip, Garmin would be an okay watch to take then, but you could also do the Casio. Now, if you're doing anything longer than that, I really like this guy right here because it'll go for a month. It says approximate battery operating time, 7 months on rechargeable without exposure to light after charge. 25 months when stored in total darkness with the power save function on after full charge. This thing is a beast. Now, it doesn't have all the software and tech loaded into it, so that's why it doesn't draw as much power. But I think they've found a healthy little blend there. I just wish we could step it up just a little bit and make it just a little more smartwatch, a little less analog, and you know, without compromising on that power. I don't know that I need my watch to last for 7 months without charging it. You know, when you're wearing it, it's solar charging. You know, I know a lot of you guys really want your steps and your heart rate monitor, and if that's the case, the Casio is not going to get it done for you. You need to switch to the Garmin Fenix, which would be my next choice. Now, if I was really into the health stats and recording them, you know, you kind of got to go with the Apple Watch because it pretty much has that perfect. Hopefully you got something out of the video. I know I love my EDC gear, and I know a lot of you guys out there love your EDC gear as well. And you know, when you do a lot of hiking, you want to make sure that you have the right watch. So just wanted to give you my thoughts on these three. Let me know down below, what watch do you use for your hiking, your EDC? Tell us all about it. Tell us what brand, what model, you know, and why you like it. That'll really help us all out. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. You have an awesome week.